Konnichiwa, this is T-Secure, and you're watching PokeCast. Today's video is a video response to HappyConsoleGamer's video, What's Your Favorite Controller? And I would definitely be talking about what my favorite controller is. I just have to talk about some controllers firsthand that are really awesome in my opinion. Then my least favorite controller, and then I'll let you know what my favorite controller is. Now, for anybody that's actually knows me personally, I really enjoy controllers that are specifically made for games. Unfortunately, I don't have all my controllers anymore. I forgot my collection. A long story, but yeah. But I've gotten a couple now, and I've really enjoyed it. And I feel as if with certain games, you have to have that controller. Otherwise, even when they've been remastered, like for the Wii, there's several games that have been remastered to use the Wii remotes. Samba Amigo and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. Without the original controller, it's not the same. So these are the controllers that really kind of, in my opinion, made things cool. Starting off with a big one, the Power Glove. Yeah, I've heard the stories that it was a horrible controller, didn't really respond very well, but it was cool enough to where you were cool if you had it, and it was even remade for the Nintendo 64 and the PlayStation 1. So, you know, if it was that cool just to have something cool like that, why not? It was just an awesome controller. It was even featured in the movie too. Next, of course, is the YForce. I've seen this thing, I wanted to pick it up so badly, I wanted to use it on Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and other games that allow me to. This is it was a radical controller back then. I don't know how well it worked because I never took the opportunity, and it was like $20 at the time I could have bought it. I never bought it. And now it's like $70 to almost $100 to get to what I've kind of read is a bad controller. But still, it was an awesome idea where you can actually punch and it would read the infrared coming close to it and be able to work with your boxing games. At least that's what it was supposed to do. Next one after that is definitely the Powerpad. One of my favorite controllers. I almost had every single game during my big collection, and it was just a ball. You lose weight, you play games, you had fun. Luckily, there was no real YouTube back then when I had it, so, well, I should say it's a shame, because then I would have been able to have some cool videos of some really interesting games. But it was essentially just a pad where you had to step on the buttons corresponding to what was on the screen. Amazing idea. Really innovative and really kind of brought the virtual reality out for the games. Very cool. Definitely one I wish I still had because it is, you know, I like DDR even though I'm really bad. This was my first thing that actually brought me into DDR. Okay, the next one after that is the Activator for the Genesis. Another virtual reality controller that uses infrared beams, and wherever you strike at, you would break that infrared beam and it would do a command. It was specifically made for fighting games. That way you could actually reenact your fighting, just make sure you're far enough away from your brother. I actually never had one of these, but still one of those type of controllers that if I could get one with a Genesis, okay, a working one, and actually be able to try it, even if it's horrible, even if it's just like pitiful, I would still do it because it would just make some great videos of just having fun. I know that it's supposed to be a horrible controller, but just very cool. The next one after that is the Mega Controller, the all-time, just the best controller you could ever get for an otaku. And automatically, a couple of you already know what I'm talking about. The Steel Battalion controller for the Xbox original. I mean, face it, if we could have that particular controller remade with a Gundam game or going into Macross, I mean, right there, amazing. You know, it was amazing to see that they actually got it to work perfectly. I've heard that it was very precise. I've actually, I've seen these. I've actually messed around with it. I've never actually had a game where I could test it with, unfortunately. But this thing is just blows my mind about how they were able to finally, let's do a virtual reality controller that you would see only in an arcade, but for the Xbox. Outstanding. I would love to get my hands on this now that I finally have an Xbox again, for I can actually collect all the Xbox games. I would love to pick up this particular game with the controller just to see how sensitive it is, and watch my character die 100,000 times and lose all my save file. But you know, eject a button. It won't work. Oh wait, I have to wait till it tells me. Oh, I just died. You know, but big controller, amazingly done, and what else do you really need when you have a controller that lets you do every little thing inside the game? And it's just, I mean, if you were to set up perfectly with it, where you actually have several TVs that would allow you to actually span or even use 3D goggles with something like that, can you just imagine? Oh, that right there would probably be my all-time favorite controller if it wasn't for the one I'm going to be talking about. Now I have to go into the worst controller I've ever used, and unfortunately I have to disagree with you guys. The 3DO controller wasn't all that bad. You know, yeah, definitely the Duke is a horrible controller, but this one was even worse than the Duke, and that is the Jaguar controller. It doesn't matter what Atari tried to do with this controller, it was just bad. It responded really nicely, and everything. It was huge, had all these extra things you did not even get to use half the time with several of the games. It was just bizarre. Not a very good controller, and the worst controller I have used to date out of any of the systems I've actually had the opportunity to play. And, oh, just a pitiful controller. Ugh. Now, for the best controller I've ever used, and was personally my favorite, especially when that was my my type of games I enjoyed playing the most, would be Capcom's Fighting Pad Soldier. This was out for the Super Nintendo, 3DO, Genesis, and Mega Drive. I mean, you know, back then, yeah, I definitely played a ton of fighting games, especially Street Fighter. You know, it was the all-time game, and didn't have the blood and guts, so, you know, your parents allowed you to actually play the game. You know, it's not good when your brother is playing, I think it was Mortal Kombat 2 or Mortal Kombat 3. Hey, Mom, check this out. Rips the guy's head out and blood everywhere. It's like, yeah, that was bad. But this controller was just, it felt nice in the hand. You could hold it, you had all of your buttons right there. You could just get everything off perfectly. I was able to actually get through the game faster with that type of controller, and even with the newer controllers they have released for the newer systems, where they kind of do, you know, the fighting pad didn't feel as good as actually using those. They were just perfectly designed, because, you know, you had everything right there, a nice slim thing right there, and you were able to play it with ease. The D-pad, of course, was the Nintendo official D-pad, so that even made it nicer for you to be able to do that. But, you know, I've used the other pads, and they went with the Sega Genesis D-pad, which I was not a fan of. But I don't know, it's just because you still had the L buttons and you had all 6 buttons here. I don't know, I'd rather have all 8 buttons right here, like you do inside the arcade, if the arcade machine had it. So these are my controllers that I want to talk about. That's my favorite controller of all time, and I just want to say thank you for the video. Definitely was fun to see. So thanks guys again. This is T. Sakura saying ciao and sayonara.